other side of the ring because it's time for Ringside. Got a bunch of news lined up for you, ladies and gentlemen, so without further ado, we're just gonna quote, one of the biggest WWE stars of the modern era told F4W Online's Dave Meltzer that Triple H had to have knowledge of Vince McMahon's alleged sexual misconduct in WWE. The star in question said Triple H is, quote, the best politicking dude in history. You think he doesn't pay attention to what's going on around him? Think he did that without knowing every little thing everywhere in that company? Yet somehow this slipped past his radar? This person went on to say, quote, the thing about that place is if TKO starts cleaning house, they're going to show up with a bucket and some Lysol, then realize that crap's in the walls, in the floorboards, they're going to have to bring out the sledgehammer because that crap is going to turn into a demolition job. Another, quote, company star told Meltzer the following, quote, Vince made so many of us feel small and awful, we all had to obey his abuse in order to keep our jobs. There's so much to talk about. There's so much to unpack. So much to the point where it could be its own episode. And I really don't want to do that. Just because there's a lot. I want to say this. If you're on the road, if you're driving in a car on a highway, right? No exits. And you say to yourself in your head, I need to change out my tires. Are you going to do that while you're on the road, or are you going to wait for a service station to pull off and then you're going to do it? Why, if you're a Triple H, if you're a human being and you've got a good paying job and you've got a family with children, plural, why would you do something to upend your life? Whether he knew about it or not, why would he say something and potentially, for lack of a better word, ruin his life? Is it right? No, it's not right. Because he knew about it, and he knew who it was affecting, right? But at the same time, he's got a family, he's got a wife, and he's got children, and he's got to pay for food, and the house, and the cars, and school, and clothes, right? WrestleMania is coming around. You really think that you really think that Ari Emanuel, Nick Khan, they're going to go around and they're going to start cutting people off? Now? After Punk? You know, you've got The Rock here. He just signed on. Seth Rollins is questionable. The point is, there is way too much going on right now for the quote-unquote house cleaning, right, to take effect, at least right now. There's way too much going on. I'm sure that they're potentially going to do something about this in the next couple months, in the next couple weeks. Probably not in the next couple weeks, I would say in the next couple months, but right now, I'm not going to say what's right and what's wrong here. I'm not the judge, jury, and the executioner. All I'm going to say is right now it does not seem like the best time to be doing something, and they're potentially going to do something about it in the next couple months. I'm not saying that what Triple H did is right. All I'm saying is that he's a family man. He's a husband. He's going to do what he's going to do, whether it's right or wrong, for his family. That's all I'm going to say about that. Sticking with WWE, Fightful Sean Ross had mentioned that, quote, people in WWE are befuddled by SmackDown's angle where Cody Rhodes stepped aside for The Rock to take his spot in the main event of WrestleMania 40 against Roman Reigns. I'm befuddled. I'm still befuddled. Still. I genuinely don't know what to think because I almost just can't believe it. I can't believe he did that. I cannot believe it. Now, I talked about this on the podcast, and I was like, it's WWE, whatever their decision is, whatever their decision, but it's obvious that many people are not okay with this. Many people are not happy about this. I don't know how to feel about this because I cannot believe that we have been told this story for so long, and now it is being upended. I can't believe it. I don't know why. In kayfabe, I don't know why he did this. I don't know why this was a good idea, right? On one hand, we are getting The Rock versus Roman Reigns, finally, at a WrestleMania, right? That match is going to be great. The storyline's going to be great. I hope that the build-up in the match itself is going to be good. I mean, I feel like the way that they've been dealing with Roman this entire time, I don't think that they're going to mess up the storyline. Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins, that's going to be a great match. The storyline with that is going to be great. I talked about that. I was like, I do not deny that the storyline between Cody and Seth and the match between Cody and Seth is going to be a barn burner. They're fantastic wrestlers and they're great on the mic. So I know that just all in all, both of these matches they're going to be great. Unfortunately, it's putting a spanner in the works for more or less, right? And it's confusing a lot of people. And there's a lot of people that kind of had an idea of what WrestleMania was going to look like. And I feel like WWE also had that idea as well. But, you know, CM Punk being injured, and I said this, I was like, I wonder if CM Punk being injured is the reason why we are getting The Rock Roman at WrestleMania. Because Punk being injured obviously kind of paved the road for Cody and Seth to interact. But I wonder if Rock Roman was always going to happen at WrestleMania. I wonder if Rock Roman was always going to be the main event, or if it was going to be something that, you know what I mean? Like, I wonder what caused this. I wonder how much you know, like an avalanche, a pebble fall, like a pebble falls and gets bigger and bigger. I wonder what started this. You know, I'm just curious. All in all, it's going to happen. There's not really much else to say. It's going to happen. You know, you're allowed to be upset, but either way, you know, we're getting it at WrestleMania. Again, going to be a great match. I'm still a little bit confused. I hope that maybe we get a little bit more of an explanation. Maybe something that, you know, kind of appeases us. But for right now, I'm still very confused as to why. I'm confused. I genuinely don't know why this happened. Next, the Wrestling Observer newsletter indicates that Kevin Patrick was fired by WWE as a consequence of Pat McAfee agreeing to return to do commentary. Quote, essentially, the changes were because McAfee agreed to come back. Wade Barrett did a great job with Michael Cole, and they didn't want to get rid of him. Patrick was the weakest link. There's not really much to say. Unfortunately, Kevin Patrick, you know, you were the slowest runner. Right? I mean, that's just how it is. You could run, you just couldn't run as fast as everybody else. And the line caught up to you. I stand by what I say, that he wasn't terrible, he wasn't the worst, he was just, you know, not as good as everyone else, and I would have preferred that he do like a backstage, you know, interview, you know, or he's on like the bump or something like that, you know what I mean? Like, he's not awful, you could have put him in something else, it's just how it goes. There's not really much else to say. I'm sure he'll be fine, right? I have confidence in his ability, right, to find work somewhere else. And, you know, I don't doubt that he will eventually find another position to be in at some point down the line. And listen, good luck to him in his future endeavors. Moving right along, PW Insider notes that CM Punk had tricep surgery this week and was backstage at last episode's SmackDown in Birmingham, Alabama. He had surgery, I would say, pretty soon. So that's good to know. He's obviously still going to be out for quite some time. He's more than likely going to miss Mania. But this hopefully, now I can't see it in the future, this hopefully means that he is going to be back much sooner than if he didn't get the surgery. And I am excited, and I'm glad to know, because he's not going to be out for too long, right? And, you know, he could potentially be back in time, you know, for the Drew McIntyre, you know, Punk storyline to make a little bit more sense, because it wouldn't be so long of him being gone, right? And, you know, again, glad to hear that. There's really not much else to say, because he got surgery. So, to be fair though, he could get more than one surgery. You can't just get one surgery and everything's fine. He probably has to have more than one surgery. But the fact that he got surgery so soon is a good indication that he's not going to be out for way too long. He's going to miss Mania, but he may be back sometime in the summer, right? So here's hoping that he makes a speedy recovery and he's back sooner rather than later. Finally, a source told WrestleVotes that WWE has decided to change the WrestleMania 40 start time, with the main card of both nights now set to begin at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I actually think that is really good, because, you know, it means that everybody all over the world aren't going to have to stay up until like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning to be watching WrestleMania. I think that's great. You could argue that that's something that they probably should have been doing for quite some time, especially when they finally chopped up WrestleMania into 2 nights, right? So this is good. I don't know if this is, I don't know if they're just doing this for WrestleMania. Well, I don't know if they're doing this for this specific WrestleMania, is what I'm trying to say. Or if this is something they're going to start doing going forward. But, you know, I'm glad to know that the scheduling is now being accommodated, you know, for human beings, right? It's not just one WrestleMania going on for like 5-6 hours. And now it doesn't sound like the WrestleManias are going until like, you know, 12:30 anymore. So that's great. Again, I don't know if this is going to be something that sticks around, but hopefully, right, that this ends up being the normal for all the WrestleManias in the near future. What do we talk about? One of the biggest WWE stars of the modern era thinks that Triple H had knowledge of it the entire time. All I'm going to say is, if he knew about it, why would he say something to jeopardize the future of his family and his job? He went on to say, if TKO starts cleaning house, they're going to show up with a bucket and some Lysol. Why would they do that so close to WrestleMania? And why would they do that if it could potentially put a spanner in the works of everything that is currently going on? Not just with WrestleMania, right? But just in general, okay? Another company star told Meltzer, Vince made so many of us feel small and awful. We all had to obey his abuse. So even if he did know, again, saying something could potentially jeopardize his job and his future with his family. Anybody, not just Triple H, anybody who wanted to say something, right? I still have no idea. I genuinely don't know why Cody Rhodes gave his WrestleMania main event to The Rock. I have no idea. I can't even understand the motivation, because even he was like, I gotta finish the story and I don't like you and I want that title, the title that my dad held. I don't know why he did that. It doesn't make any sense. That's why I'm saying hopefully we get an explanation in the coming weeks, right? Kevin Patrick, listen, man, you were the weakest link. I'm sorry. There's not really much else to say. You just weren't running faster than everybody else. All right. PW Insider notes Punk had tricep surgery. Great. Obviously, he's not going to be back in time for Mania, but this means that he's going to be back sooner than he would have been if he didn't get the surgery, so that's good to know. And a source told WrestleVotes WWE has decided to change the Mania 40 start time. Now, the start time, if it's starting at 7 p.m., that means it's still potentially going to go on until like midnight. So changing the start time to 7, I don't really think is changing anything. I don't really think it's making a huge difference, right? The main card of both nights, it's WrestleMania. Both of the nights are going to have the main card, unless they're talking about not the pre-shows and stuff, but even then, that means it's going to start at like 6:30, which really isn't a gigantic change, which means it's still probably going to go on for like 5 or 6 hours. So if the main event for both nights is going to start at 7, that's good, if that's what they're talking about. But if they're just talking about the show in general is going to start at 7, that's not really a huge change. So I'm going to go off of the assumption that it's the main show, the main matches, not the main card. So hopefully that's what it is. Folks, that's going to do it for this episode. Hopefully everybody has a wonderful tonight and a wonderful tomorrow. And as always, big hugs. Big hugs all around.